A brave astronaut crosses into another universe, but what he finds there is far worse than death. His final message warns humanity of a terrifying truth we were never meant to know. Commander Rafe stood inside the launch chamber, his suit sealed tight. Around him, scientists in white coats worked quickly. The air buzzed with nervous energy. For years, Earth had been searching for a way to explore beyond their own universe. And now, the portal was finally open. The gateways shimmered like water floating in the air, a large circle glowing with blue light. It hummed quietly, as if it was breathing. No one knew what was on the other side. No probes had returned, but the readings showed it was safe, at least for now. Rafe was chosen because he was the best, a skilled astronaut, calm under pressure with a mind sharp as a blade. He had trained for this moment all his life. Still, even he felt the weight of fear pressing on his chest. He turned to the cameras. "If anything goes wrong, I'll send a signal," he said. "I'll record everything. Tell my family I love them." Then he walked into the light. The world around him twisted. Colors melted into each other. Sound vanished. For a second it felt like he was nowhere. Then he landed, hard, on the ground of another universe. He stood up slowly and looked around. The sky was dark purple with a strange mist floating above black soil. Sharp, twisted trees grew in the distance. The air was cold and dry. There was no wind, no sound, just silence. Rafe activated his suit's scanner. The readings were strange but stable. He started recording. "Day 1, he said. "Atmosphere breathable with filter. Gravity normal, no sign of life. Terrain is solid. Visibility low due to fog." He took careful steps forward, checking his surroundings. The ground cracked softly under his boots. The trees didn't move even when he got close. They looked frozen like statues made of ash. Hours passed. Rafe walked further, recording everything. The sky never changed. No sun, no moon. Just that purple glow above. He found a small hill and climbed it for a better view. From the top, he saw more of the strange forest stretching far beyond. Something about the place made his skin crawl. He stopped walking. He felt something, not a sound, not a touch, just a presence. He turned around quickly. Nothing there. "Suit sensors show no life forms," he said into his recorder. "But I feel like I'm being watched." He stood still for a minute. His eyes searched the trees, the fog, the shadows. Then he shook his head and kept walking. He reached a flat area with large stones forming a circle. They looked placed, not natural, like a ritual site. Rafe examined them, took pictures, and collected samples. He noticed strange marks on one of the stones, scratches, maybe writing, but not like any language he knew. The silence was starting to bother him. It was too quiet, not peaceful, dead. He sat down to rest and opened a meal pack. As he ate, he kept checking the forest around him. Still no movement, still no sound. Then his suit beeped. "Scanner glitch," he said, checking the screen. The display blinked, showing brief flashes of red. Something nearby, then gone. He stood up fast, heart pounding. "Repeating scan," he said. Nothing. He turned on his helmet's night vision and looked around. The trees appeared sharper now, the fog looked thinner, and far in the distance between two trees, he saw a shadow. It moved, quickly, too quickly. Then it was gone. Rafe backed away slowly, his hand on the emergency flare. "Still no life forms detected," he whispered. "But I definitely saw something." He didn't run. Not yet. But he walked faster, back toward the portal's location. When he got there, the portal was still open, still humming. He was safe, for now. He sat near it and started recording again. "End of first day," he said, his voice low. "This place, it's wrong. The ground is quiet. The sky never changes. I feel like I'm being watched every second. But there's nothing to see. My suit shows nothing. He paused, looking into the fog. I saw a shadow today. It moved like it was alive, but when I scanned for it, there was nothing. No sound, no trace. It's like this place hides itself. He looked back toward the trees. I'm sending this message now in case I don't make it. Don't send anyone else here. This universe is not empty. It's... He hesitated. It's hungry. His hand trembled slightly as he ended the recording. The fog around him thickened, and somewhere just beyond the trees something moved again. Commander Rafe woke up to silence again. The sky above him was still dark purple, but now there was something new. A black circle had appeared in the sky where the sun should be. It was huge, and it didn't shine. Instead of giving light, it seemed to pull the light away. Shadows twisted toward it. The trees, the rocks, and even Rafe's body seemed to lean in its direction. He stared at it, confused. There's a sun now, but it's black, he said into his recorder. It's not bright. It's like it's eating the light. He checked his suit's systems. The radiation levels were strange. The temperature kept shifting up and down. His clock blinked. Time was jumping. Seconds were missing. Sometimes they repeated. He rubbed his eyes and looked around. The fog was thicker now. He could barely see 10 feet in any direction. But something caught his attention above. Floating in the sky, far above the trees, were large shapes. They moved slowly, like islands in the air. Dark, smooth structures with sharp edges. Some looked like towers, others like pyramids. None of them made any sound. They're not falling, he whispered. Just floating, watching. He took pictures, but the camera glitched. The screen turned white, then black, then came back. The images were blurred. His hands felt heavy. His body felt like it was being pulled toward the sky. He shook his head and walked. The ground felt soft now, like it was breathing under his boots. Every step felt slower. His thoughts were slow, too, like he was walking in a dream. He tried to focus. Something is wrong with time, he said. My suit clock is jumping. My movements feel delayed. He checked his oxygen levels. They were fine, but he didn't feel right. His ears rang. His heart beat too fast. Then he heard it. A whisper. It wasn't coming from the outside. It was in his head. Faint words, soft and slow, like someone speaking underwater. He froze. Suit malfunction? He asked out loud. The voice didn't stop. It wasn't loud, just there, inside his thoughts. He turned off his external mic. The voice continued. He turned off his internal recorder. Still there. Not me, he said. These are not my thoughts. He dropped to one knee and pressed his hands against the ground. It felt warm. Too warm. Like something alive was under it. The whispering grew louder for a moment. Then it stopped. He looked up again. The floating structures were still there, unmoving. The black sun was bigger now, or closer. It was hard to tell. He started walking again, faster this time. He needed to move, get away from that thing in the sky. But the terrain was changing. The ground began to tilt, not like a hill, like the whole land was bending toward the black sun. His legs grew tired, too tired. His muscles ached, and he had only walked a short distance. Then he noticed something worse. His suit's oxygen tank showed it was only half full, but he had just refilled it. Time, he said. Time's moving wrong, or I'm being drained. He looked at his hand. The glove was still there, but the fingers looked thinner. He didn't feel pain, but something was wrong with his body. The whispers returned. This time they weren't words. They were images, flashes in his mind, cities burning. A giant creature with no face. People standing still, eyes black as the black sun rose over them. He screamed and fell to the ground. The vision stopped. He lay there, breathing hard, shaking. Sweat rolled down his face inside the helmet. "I need to go back," he said. "I need to get back to the portal." He stood up and turned around. The forest behind him looked different now. The trees were taller. The fog was gone, replaced by a glowing mist that floated in the air like fireflies. He started walking again. No matter how fast he moved, the black sun followed him. It was always above him, always pulling. The ground cracked under his feet. He reached a cliff. Below he saw a huge valley filled with dark water. In the middle of it stood a tower, taller than anything on earth. It had no windows, no lights, just black stone. Above it floated one of the alien monuments. It slowly turned in the air, silent. And then he saw movement, figures, tall, thin, walking slowly around the tower. They weren't human. He zoomed in with his helmet camera. Their skin was pale and smooth, almost glowing. They had no faces, no eyes, no mouths, just a blank surface. But they moved like they could see. He watched as they stopped and looked up toward the black sun. Then one of them turned its head and looked straight at him. Even from far away, Rafe felt it. It knew he was there. He backed away from the cliff and ran. The whispers in his head grew louder. This time they spoke. "You are not supposed to be here." Rafe shook his head. "Get out of my head." He activated his suit's emergency override. Alarms rang inside his helmet. The screen flickered. The voice spoke again. "Return or be consumed." He tripped and fell. The ground under him pulsed like a heartbeat. He crawled, breathing hard. His suit's lights went out for a moment, then came back. His map was gone, his location data wiped. He was lost. And the black sun was still there, still watching. He reached a small cave and hid inside. The walls were smooth, almost like glass. The air was cold and heavy. He sat down and tried to calm his mind. He whispered into the recorder. "Second day, I saw a sun, but it's black. It steals light. It steals time. Floating structures above me, giant tower in the valley, things walking. Not human. I think they saw me." He paused. "I heard voices in my head, not my own. They said I don't belong here." He looked at his hands again. They were shaking. "If anyone hears this, I don't know how much time I have. Time doesn't work here. The sun isn't a sun. It's something else." He leaned his head back against the cold wall. "Everything here watches, everything here listens, and something inside this place wants me to stay." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I think it's trying to change me." Commander Rafe sat in the cave, eyes half closed, trying to stay awake. He didn't trust the darkness anymore. It moved, it whispered, it waited. His suit's power was low. The signal to Earth was weak now. The black sun outside hadn't moved since it appeared. It just hung there like a hole in the sky. He turned on his recorder. "Day 3, I think. Not sure. Time is broken here. It feels like I've been awake for days, but my body doesn't feel tired in the normal way. I don't even know if I'm still human." He turned off the recorder and stood up. The whispers in his head had stopped for now, but silence felt just as heavy. He stepped outside the cave slowly, looking around. The mist was gone. Now the air was clear and the ground was dry. The black sun was still in the sky, and it felt closer. The alien tower in the valley still stood far away, and the floating monuments above it remained still like they were frozen. Then he heard something new, a sound, faint. It wasn't wind. There was never wind here. It was soft. It sounded like crying. Rafe froze. He turned his helmet to full scan mode. The suit scanned for movement, heat, sound, anything, nothing. No life signs. But the sound was still there. Quiet, echoing like someone was far away and scared. "Is someone out there?" he said into his mic. No answer, just the crying. He followed the sound slowly, carefully. His boots crunched softly over the dead ground. He passed broken trees, their trunks blackened like charcoal. The sound grew louder. It was definitely crying, but not loud. It sounded like a child trying not to be heard. He walked for what felt like hours, though his suit clock showed only minutes. Then he saw something. On the ground, half covered in dust, was a helmet. It was scratched, cracked open on the side. The glass visor was shattered. No body, no blood, just the helmet, and it was human. Rafe dropped to his knees. His hands trembled as he lifted it. "This isn't possible," he whispered. "No one else came through the portal. I was the first." The helmet had markings, an Earth flag. The name tag was burned off. Inside, the padding was torn. It had been here a long time. He checked the ground for footprints. Nothing. The crying stopped. Now there was only silence again. He turned the helmet over, looking for clues. Then his suit picked up a signal. It was short, broken, just static. Then a voice. It was his voice, repeating something. "Don't follow me. Don't." Then static again. His heart raced. He dropped the helmet and stepped back. "This isn't right," he said out loud. He turned around, ready to run back to the cave, and then he heard it. A voice, not in his head, behind him. It spoke one word. "Rafe." He stopped, every muscle in his body locked. The voice was soft, almost kind, but there was something wrong with it. He turned around slowly. There was nothing there. Only the trees. He activated full visual scan, switching to thermal mode. Nothing. "Who's there?" he asked. No answer. He stepped back, eyes scanning every shadow. Then something moved, just for a second, between two trees. A shape, not solid, not smoke, something in between. It had no face, just a shape like a person, tall and thin, with long arms. It didn't walk. It floated. Then it vanished. Rafe started running. He didn't care about noise now. He had to get away, but the forest didn't let him. The path he came from was gone. New trees had grown. The ground changed shape. He turned in circles. Nothing looked familiar. He stopped, breathing hard. "Map failure," his suit said. "Navigation offline." The air felt thick now, heavy, like it was trying to push him down. Then the voice came again, this time from in front of him. "Why did you come here?" It was his voice again. Perfect copy. But he hadn't spoken. "Leave me alone," he shouted. The ground shook. A deep hum rolled through the forest like the sound of a giant machine waking up. He backed away, holding his flare stick. He activated it. A red light burst from it, burning through the shadows. Nothing. Just trees. Then the flare flickered and went out. Total darkness swallowed him. His suit lights shut off too. Complete black. He couldn't see his hands. He turned in place, trying not to panic. Then another sound. Footsteps. Slow. Behind him. He didn't move. Didn't breathe. The steps got closer. Then stopped. Right behind him. He spun around and swung his arm. Nothing there. He stepped back, heart slamming in his chest. His lights blinked on for a second. In that second, he saw it. A figure standing just inches from him. A copy of him. Same suit. Same face. Eyes completely black. Then the light went out again. And the voice said, "You are not the first." Rafe screamed and ran, pushing through the darkness. His lights came back, flickering. The forest changed again. The trees were gone. He was in a field now, empty, flat. The black sun hung directly above him. He dropped to his knees, shaking. He opened the recorder. "Third day, I found a human helmet, cracked, no body, but it was real. It had Earth markings. I also heard my own voice. Something here is copying me, playing with me. There was someone, something. It looked like me. It spoke in my voice." He wiped his face. "I'm not alone. Even if there are no life forms, something is here. Something that pretends to be human. It waits in the dark. It follows. It watches." He looked at his cracked flare stick. I don't think I can trust my own senses anymore. His voice dropped to a whisper. If I lose myself, if I change, don't believe anything I say. He turned off the recorder and stared at the sky. The black sun pulsed once, slowly, and from deep below the ground. The crying started again. Rafe walked through the empty field, his boots dragging through dust that didn't feel like dust. The air was silent again. Too silent. No wind, no sound. Only the distant hum from the black sun above him, a deep, low vibration that made his teeth ache. He hadn't slept in what felt like days, but he didn't feel tired in the normal way. He felt drained, like the world around him was feeding on his energy. Then he saw it. Far ahead across the field was something tall. It didn't move. It wasn't like the floating structures he had seen before or the towers in the distance. This was different, darker, like a living shadow shaped into a body. It stood between two dead trees, perfectly still. Rafe stopped. He didn't know why, but his heart knew before his mind did. That thing was alive, and it saw him. He stepped back slowly. The figure didn't follow. But he felt its eyes, though it had no face, no features, just a tall, twisting shape made of black smoke and solid darkness. It shifted slightly, just enough to show it wasn't a statue. He felt cold, not on his skin, inside his chest, like something was reaching into him. Then his suit made a sharp noise, a long beep. Red lights flashed on his visor. Signal lost. His connection to Earth was gone. No, 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 come on, he whispered, tapping the side of his helmet. He tried the emergency channel. Nothing. The creature still didn't move, but it didn't have to. It was watching. He turned and ran. His legs felt heavy, like they were being pulled back. He didn't stop until he reached the edge of another forest. But the trees here weren't normal. They weren't even dead. They looked wrong, bent, twisted, covered in black vines that moved on their own. And in the middle of them, half hidden, was a structure, a building, but not human. It looked ancient, made of stone and metal. Parts of it were floating in the air, slowly spinning, connected by invisible energy. The door was cracked open like a mouth waiting to swallow. Rafe didn't think. He just ran inside. The moment he crossed the doorway, his suit lights turned back on. His signal returned. The hum in his ears stopped. He fell to the floor and gasped for breath. The room was wide and hollow. The walls were covered in strange symbols that pulsed faintly with green light. The floor was warm under him. He checked his systems. Life support stable. Signal back. Earth was online again. He tried to contact mission control. "This is Commander Rafe," he said. "I've found an alien structure. My signal dropped outside. Something watched me. I don't know if it followed." There was no reply, just static. He waited. Nothing. The signal was showing connected, but no voice came through. "Why can't I hear you?" he said. Then he paused. What if something was pretending to be Earth's signal? What if it was all fake? He turned off his comm and stood up. The walls shifted. Not moved, but changed. The symbols rearranged, the lights pulsed. It was alive. The building was reacting to him. He moved deeper inside. The hallway bent in strange ways. Some corners led nowhere. Others led back to where he started. But eventually he found a chamber. Inside it was quiet. But on the far wall was a shape, not a machine, not a statue, a face carved into the wall, huge, smooth, featureless except for two deep hollows where eyes should be. He stepped closer. The moment he looked at the face, he felt something shift in the air. The room got colder. Then a voice, but not in his head. All around him. "You looked." Rafe turned around. No one was there. "You are not supposed to be here," the voice said again. "Who are you?" he asked. Silence, then his suit glitched. The lights went out for 3 seconds. When they came back on, the face in the wall was gone. But something else had appeared. A mark. On the floor, glowing red, a circle with jagged lines. He didn't understand it, but he felt its meaning. A warning. He backed away. Then he heard movement above him. He looked up. On the ceiling, something crawled, fast, silent. He raised his flare stick and lit it. The light showed nothing. But the sound continued. He moved toward the doorway. It closed behind him with a soft click. He was trapped. He turned back toward the chamber. The red mark on the floor was gone now. The room looked empty again. Too empty. Like it had never existed. He touched the wall. It was smooth, cold, real, but it felt like it was breathing. Then he heard the voice again. "Do you want to see?" Rafe didn't answer. Another door opened, revealing a staircase going down. He didn't trust it, but he had no choice. He walked down slowly. Each step echoed. The deeper he went, the louder the hum became. Not just a sound now, a feeling in his bones. At the bottom he found another room. This one was darker. In the center was a sphere floating in the air, black and silver, spinning slowly. He stepped closer. The sphere stopped and showed him an image, himself, back on Earth, but it wasn't a memory, it was now. He was sitting in a lab, talking to people, laughing. "I'm still there?" he whispered. Then the image changed. The black sun appeared in the sky above Earth. Cities began to burn. The oceans turned black. And those things, those creatures, walked among humans, pulling them into the shadows. He stepped back. "No," he said, "that's not real." The sphere faded. Then the voice whispered again. "You brought it with you." The room shook. The lights flickered. He ran back up the stairs. The door at the top opened before he reached it. He ran out of the structure and stopped. Outside, the creature was there, the one made of shadows, standing by the trees, still not moving, but this time Rafe looked straight at it. And the moment he did, it moved, not its body, its shape. It twisted, shifted. And in that second, he knew it had always known who he was. It had watched him from the moment he stepped into this world, and it had let him find the structure. It wanted him inside. It wanted him to see, to believe, to bring the fear back. He ran, but he knew the truth now. There was no hiding. Because whatever it was, it saw everything. Rafe moved through the dead forest, his boots sinking into ash with every step. The air was thick and strange, filled with the scent of metal and something older, something rotten. The creature was no longer behind him, but its presence stayed. He could still feel its eyes, even if it had no face. His breath echoed inside his helmet, and his heart beat like a war drum. His hands gripped the scanner tightly, even though it no longer worked properly. The glitching lights flickered on his visor. But one signal caught his eye, a faint energy reading ahead underground. He followed it. The ground sloped downward, almost like a path carved out long ago. Strange symbols lined the rocks on both sides, glowing softly like veins of light. Every few meters he found strange metal bones, remains of creatures not from Earth, and mixed with them, smaller bones. Human bones. He didn't stop to stare. He couldn't. Something deeper inside him told him that stopping meant being found. At the end of the path was a wide metal door, half buried under dust and black roots. It wasn't locked. It opened when he stepped closer. A hiss of stale air escaped, followed by silence. Rafe entered. The hallway inside was cold, cleaner than anything he had seen in this place. The walls were smooth, glowing with blue lines. Machines lined the walls, some broken, others blinking, slowly, still alive. The symbols here were more advanced, more controlled. Not wild carvings, but careful, scientific markings. He moved forward, deeper into the lab. That's what it was. A laboratory, not a ruin, not a temple, a research center. The corridor ended in a massive circular chamber. His breath caught. Floating in glass-like tubes were human bodies, some complete, some opened up, limbs removed, brains exposed. Their eyes stared blankly at nothing. The tubes were filled with a silver liquid. Some of the bodies looked fresh, others were dry and decayed. Rafe stepped closer. One of the bodies looked just like him. Same face, same scar under the eye, same suit. He staggered back. "No, that's not possible," he whispered. Then lights flickered on all around the room. Machines came to life, screens activated, showing moving images, Earth cities, crowds of people, vehicles, oceans, wars. He watched in horror as each screen showed something different, humans laughing, humans crying, humans killing each other. Data streamed beside each video, heart rate, brain activity, blood samples, weapon stats, emotional reactions. It was a full study, a deep scan of humanity. "This place," he said quietly, "this isn't a mystery, it's a trap." A terminal activated beside him. Holographic files blinked to life, forming a projection in the air. Images of the portal appeared. But they weren't from Earth's side, they were from this side, the alien side. The data showed something worse. The portal was opened from here. Earth hadn't found this world. This world had found Earth. He stepped back, his knees weak. They opened it first. More images flashed, dozens of human astronauts, missions never recorded, uniforms that looked official. None had returned, none were known on Earth. They had been taken, one by one, studied, dissected. And now Rafe knew why. They weren't just watching, they were preparing. He reached toward the files, trying to copy them to his suit. The system resisted, locking him out. A deep sound echoed from the hallway. The lights dimmed. The lab knew he had discovered the truth. He ran. The hallway behind him began to shift. The walls bent, stretching like rubber. The lab was alive. It didn't want him to leave. He made it to the metal door and forced it open with his full strength. Once outside, he ran without looking back. The door sealed itself again, sinking into the ground. As he reached the edge of the forest, he fell to his knees and looked up at the black sun. It pulsed once, and he heard the whisper again, not in his mind, all around him. "They've been studying us, preparing." Rafe moved through the pale fog that covered the dead ground like a blanket. His legs ached, and his mind was clouded with everything he had just seen. The lab, the bodies, the truth. It was too much. But he couldn't stop. Something had changed. Something inside this world had awakened, and now it was watching even closer. His scanner showed movement ahead, multiple life signs. He paused. Every reading here had been strange, but this one was clear. Humanoid shapes, 5 of them, standing still. He crept forward through a narrow path between broken pillars and twisted vines. The fog began to thin. Shapes appeared. Rafe stopped breathing for a second. 5 astronauts stood in a circle. They wore different suits, some old, some unfamiliar. Dust and damage covered them, but they were still standing, still alive. He took a cautious step forward. "Hello?" he said. One of the astronauts turned slowly. The movement was unnatural, like a puppet on broken strings. Its helmet was cracked open, and inside a pale face stared back, eyes black as ink, mouth slightly open. It didn't speak, but then another did. From behind Rafe. He spun around. Another astronaut, standing close, too close. And then it spoke, not with its own voice, but with his. "Rafe," it said in his exact tone. "You shouldn't be here." His heart pounded. What are you?" The others began to move, twitching and turning like they were waking from a long sleep. Then all of them spoke at once, in his voice. "Why did you come?" They were inside his head, using his words, his thoughts. He backed away. "This isn't real," he said. But one of the astronauts stepped forward. The visor of its helmet reflected Rafe's face perfectly, even though its own was hidden. "We're going home," it said. And then it ran, fast, too fast, straight toward the direction of the portal. "No!" Rafe shouted and gave chase. He ran past the others who turned to watch but didn't follow. Their heads moved in slow, unnatural ways like they were made of rubber. He ran harder, faster than he had before. The wind around him began to howl. The ground beneath him cracked with every step. The black sun above pulsed again, warping the sky. He saw the edge of the rift, the place where the portal had first opened. A soft blue light shimmered in the air like a curtain, and the false astronaut was almost there. It stopped for a moment in front of the portal, then it turned to look back at him. The visor opened. It had his face, exactly his. But the eyes were wrong, empty, hollow, endless black. "You left the door open," it said, smiling. Then it stepped into the light. "No!" Rafe shouted and dove forward. He grabbed the figure just as it crossed, but the portal pulsed and a shockwave threw him backward. He landed hard, his suit sparking, systems failing. He looked up. The figure was gone. He crawled to the edge of the portal. It flickered, then dimmed, then shut. Sealed, he was locked in. And one of them was out. His breath shook. Number, no. He checked the portal control. Dead, burned out. He slammed his fist against the ground. The others, the ones still behind, stood at a distance now, watching him, still silent, still smiling. "You let it through," one whispered. He turned to them. "What are you?" They said nothing. Then all at once they dropped to the ground like puppets with cut strings. Rafe stepped toward them, slowly. They didn't move. He knelt beside one and reached out. But before his hand could touch the suit, the black eyes snapped open, and it whispered again, his own voice. "You're next." He staggered back and ran again. This world was alive. Rafe crawled through the smoking wreckage, blood smearing the inside of his cracked helmet. Every breath was a struggle. Alarms blared in his ears. His suit was failing, oxygen low, power critical, but he couldn't stop. Not now. Not when the entire world was at risk. The ground shook beneath him, a deep rumble echoing like thunder from the core of this cursed place. Behind him, the black-eyed copies screamed, their voices blending into one, his voice twisted and broken. They were coming, and they were angry. He reached the comms panel near the center of the ruined outpost. It sparked violently, barely functional. He slammed his fist into the override, forcing it on. The screen flickered, showing static, then cleared for a second. Earth command. "Commander Rafe?" a voice called through the static. "We read a signal. What's happening over there? We lost contact hours ago." Rafe leaned forward, blood dripping from his chin. He stared into the screen with hollow eyes. "Listen carefully," he said, his voice rough, shaking. "Shut the portal, burn the files. Forget me." The operator's voice rose with panic. "Commander, are you in danger? What's coming through? We're preparing a rescue." "No!" Rafe screamed. "No rescue! You don't understand. They're not just watching us, they're not curious, they're hungry." He reached into his suit and pulled out a glowing crystal core, the data he had stolen from the lab. His fingers trembled as he inserted it into the emergency transmitter. The screen changed, showing a holographic map of Earth, with red points glowing, dozens of them. Small, almost invisible, but active. Hidden portals. "They've already been opening them," Rafe whispered. "We thought we were first. We were just late." Behind him, the shadows moved. The copies were crawling closer, their hands twisted, their limbs bent wrong, their mouths opened too wide. The screen flickered again. Earth Command was trying to understand, trying to speak, but the signal was breaking. Rafe reached the final control panel. He had set the outpost's core to overload. The self-destruct countdown was almost ready. He typed the last few commands with bloody fingers. The system beeped once. Confirmed. You have to seal your side. Don't trust anything that comes through. Not even me. He paused. I saw one of them take my face. It might already be there. He looked at the screen one last time, and for a moment his voice softened. Tell my family. I tried. Then the creatures reached him. Their fingers touched his back. The countdown hit 0. A light brighter than the black sun filled the sky, and everything vanished. On Earth, the transmission ended with a sharp crack of static. Scientists and soldiers stood frozen, staring at the data left behind. The map, the glowing red marks, the proof that this universe, this thing, had already begun to spread. One general spoke quietly. Shut it down. All of it. Teams were sent to burn records, erase files, destroy equipment. The portal was sealed, locked under heavy security, then buried. But the final message, the warning, was saved, just in case. It played only once more before being locked away. This is Commander Rafe. If you're hearing this, do not